Okay, Boker Tov. Let's continue with the Mishnah for today, Perek Vav, Mishnah Hey. So, let's say a person has a animal designated for Korban Pesach, but when it comes time to the Shechita, he thinks about doing it for a different type of Korban. So, a Pesach Shechechato Shelo Lishmo B'Shabbat. So Korban Shlamim, let's say, a peace offering. Let's say the guy, when he comes up for Pesach, he has an animal for his Korban Pesach, he has an animal for a peace offering, for a donation, whatever. He has a few other animals with him. No, you can't do, one doesn't cover a few, right? Sin offering, whatever. So let's say he has a Korban, this is going to be my Korban Pesach. Now when it comes time for the Shechita, he designated beforehand, comes time for the Shechita, so this is going to be for my shlamim, whatever my Thanksgiving offering. So he switches up what he designated it for. Once he designated it for it, there's laws about that in the Torah called the laws of temurah. There's laws in the Torah that say you can't change up. Let's say I say, this animal I'm donating to the Beit HaMikdash. Then I see another animal, even if it's nicer, oh, I'm going to donate this one instead. No, it doesn't do instead. Once you designate this one, now both of them are. Okay. So that's nice, but you can't detract from this one. So both of them got to go if you do that. So on Shabbat we could sacrifice Korban Pesach, and Korban Tamid is also allowed on Shabbat. We're going to talk about that. That was done also on Shabbat. But people's personal offerings were not slaughtered on Shabbat. You're not allowed to slaughter on Shabbat in general. So Korban Pesach, yes. So let's say the Korban Pesach that was slaughtered on Shabbat, but this guy had a different intention. Chayav alav chatat. The Mishnah says that this guy now did a sin because he did a mistake, but it was a sin because you're not supposed to do shechita on Shabbat for something that's not a Korban Pesach or a Korban Tamid. He has to bring now a sin offering. Ushar kol hazvachim sheshechatan lishem Pesach. Now, what about the opposite case? I have an animal that I designated for a Thanksgiving offering. Came to the moment on Shabbat, I switched. I didn't realize I switched. That this is for Korban Pesach, and I upgraded it, so to speak. Korban Pesach, you're allowed to do shechita on Shabbat. So what goes on with this? Says the Mishnah, Im enan reuin chayav. Let's say we mentioned yesterday that there has to be qualifications for Korban Pesach. It has to be within a year old, has to be male, has to be a sheep or a goat. So let's say this one that I did the shechita to was a female. So it can't even become Korban Pesach even if I wanted it to. So I said, again, this animal, I designated it a week ago for a Thanksgiving offering. Came to the moment on Shabbat, oh, this is going to be for my Korban Pesach. I did the shechita, and not only did I switch things, this animal's a female. It can't be a Korban Pesach. So in that case, the Mishnah says, Chayav, you did a sin. I'm sorry, you made a mistake, but you have to bring a sin offering. Now what it means is you did a sin. Chatat is always a sin that was done accidentally. That's a chatat offering. So I mean, you did an accidental sin, you have to bring a korban. Yeah. No, ta'ut physically. When it came to the time, I did a shechita, I said, this is going for my korban pesach. Oh, I designated this a week ago for my Thanksgiving offering. No, or he told the shochet to do it for Korban Pesach, or he did the shechita himself. A non-Kohen could do the shechita for the Korban Pesach. So either he told the Kohen, do the shechita for this is my Korban Pesach. And he realized, oh my gosh, a week ago I designated it for something else. Right? So now, let's say, V'im Reuinhen. Let's say the shechita, again, this is a Thanksgiving offering I designated a week ago. Comes Shabbat, it's Korban Pesach time now. I say, okay, this is going to be for my Korban Pesach. And I switched it up. And it's actually able to be a Korban Pesach. It's within a year old, it's a male, and it's a goat. It's able to be. So now what? Rabbi Eliezer mechayev chatat. Rabbi Eliezer still says, because you changed the designation, it's a sin offering, even though it could be possible that you could use it for the Korban Pesach. Rabbi Yehoshua poter. Rabbi Yehoshua says you can't use it as a Korban Pesach, but you don't have to give a sin offering. Because really, what you did was something that was allowed to be done fully. It's an animal that's within a year old. It's an animal that's a male. It's a sheep or a goat. So you're good. I'm a Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer, now there's a back and forth between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua. Maybe you want to take a seat. It's going to be another 2-3 minutes. Rabbi Eliezer says, Ma'im HaPesach shehu mutar lishmo kesheshinat shemo chayav. Rabbi Eliezer says as follows. A Korban Pesach is allowed to be slaughtered on Shabbat. So if you change its name, meaning I designated this for Korban Pesach, now I changed it to be a Thanksgiving offering, that we all agree is not allowed, and that's a sin offering. Now you have to offer a sin offering, it's chayav. Zevachim shem asurin lishman, keshishinat sheman enodin shechayav. Says Rabbi Eliezer, who's of the opinion that either way is going to be a sin offering. He says, all the more so it should be if I have a Thanksgiving offering on Shabbat, which is asur to offer on Shabbat a Thanksgiving offering. Now I switch it to Korban Pesach, even though it's allowed to be a Korban Pesach offered on Shabbat, but the fact that I switched it, and this started as something that you can't offer on Shabbat, all the more so, it's considered a sin offering now. You can't offer it, and you have to, on top of that, bring a sin offering. It's a sin. Says Rabbi Yeshua back, Amar lo Rabbi Yeshua lo. Rabbi Yeshua argues, and says, Im amart b'Pesach shishina ledavar asur, tomar b'zevachin shishina ledavar hamutar. He says, hold on, there's a big difference. I originally designated this as a Korban Pesach. Now I change it at the last moment to a Thanksgiving offering that's offered on Shabbat. You can't offer Thanksgiving offering on Shabbat. That's why it's asur. But the other way around should be allowed. I have a Thanksgiving offering that I thought of originally. Now I switched it on Shabbat and I offered it as a Pesach offering, which is allowed on Shabbat. So says Rabbi Yeshua, you can't use it as a Korban Pesach, but don't say it's a sin offer. Don't say you made a sin and there's no offering afterwards. Rabbi Eliezer?
How do you designate an animal? Do you have to just think?
That's a good question. I'm pretty sure it's...
Or say it to somebody.
That's an excellent question. Or say it in front of witnesses, let's say, right? So I think it's even thinking. But it has to be a full thinking. This is designated for Korban Pesach in your head or in speech. I'm pretty sure thinking. It's either thinking or speech. It's definitely not in front of people or in front of witnesses. You don't need to get to that far. I'm pretty sure it's thinking, but it's either thinking or speaking it out. But it has to be a full. Not like sometimes our thoughts are not clear. It has to be a full. This is my Korban Pesach, right? And then you've designated it already, right? So then now we're talking about the change up. So we're coming to the end. Rabbi Eliezer tells him back, Imuret tzibur yochichu she'en mutarin lishman v'shochet lishman chayav. Rabbi Eliezer now talks about the Korban Tamid. He's battling it out with Rabbi Yoshua. Rabbi Eliezer says like this. This is all one Mishnah, so we got to finish it up. So Rabbi Eliezer says, hold on, a Korban Tamid is allowed to be offered on Shabbat. So he says it's allowed to be offered on Shabbat, but if you switch it up, that Korban Tamid that you're supposed to bring as a Korban Tamid, the daily Korban. We don't bring Tamid. That's excellent. There's one brought. Excellent. That's going to be the answer of Yeshua. But the Korban Tamid, which was the daily one brought in the morning, one brought in the evening, even on Shabbat, Chagim, all the time. So if someone brought that animal, which was designated for the daily Korban Tamid, and then thought about something else, that's Chayav. That everyone agrees is Chayav. So Rabbi Eliezer wants to use this as a proof that says that even all cases, it's allowed on Shabbat, like a Korban Pesach is allowed on Shabbat. Now that you switch it, it should be Chayav. Amar lo Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Yeshua says, no, you can't compare the two. Im amarta be'muret tzibur sheyesh lehem kitzva, tomar Pesach she'en lo kitzva. Says Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Yeshua is being very practical. He says like this: there's only one Korban Tamid. So if you made that mistake, you're making a big mistake. Meaning, if I have an animal that's designated for the Korban Tamid, for the entire Jewish nation, this is that one animal that's supposed to be brought at this time, and I make a mistake with it, you made a mistake, everyone agrees that you kind of did a sin. But, so therefore that's a sin offering. But when it comes to Korban Pesach, there's so many people bringing Korban Pesach, so many people, it's likely to make a mistake. And therefore, if you made a mistake in a way where you upgraded this animal that was not supposed to be offered on Shabbat, and now you said, okay, I want to use this for Korban Pesach, you upgraded it to something that's allowed to be done on Shabbat, it's a mistake, but not to the point where we call it a sin offering, that you have to now bring a sin offering. Rabbi Meir goes even more lenient, but we don't rule like Rabbi Meir. To end the Mishnah, Rabbi Meir Omer, Rabbi Meir says, even if you have the Korban Tamid, the daily offering, and you made a mistake, which I had this, let's say, Thanksgiving offering, and then I said, I designated it, and then came the daily offering. I want to use this as the daily offering. You upgraded it, so to speak. Even that, Rabbi Meir says, you're okay. You don't have to bring a sin offering. We don't rule like that because, again, because that's the daily one, you can't make any mistakes with it. And that's how the Mishnah ends, the ruling like Rabbi Yehoshua, that if you make the mistake of upgrading from a shlamim, from a Thanksgiving offering, to a Korban Pesach, slaughtered on Shabbat, which you're not supposed to slaughter the Thanksgiving on Shabbat, but you thought, I want to upgrade this to, or I change it to a Korban Pesach, that change is still not allowed. You did not fulfill your Korban Pesach. You have to bring another one, but you did not sin as well, and you do not have to bring a sin offering. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen. Rabbi Chananya ben Akashya omer ratzah kadosh baruch hu lezakot, et yisafich achi ba'alem Torah Moshe shene'emar Adonai chafetz man tzidko, yagdil Torah ve'yadir.